Hey, don't get in front of me, bro. What's up, bro? What?
So
That guy had
it
like
made you run
99
short.
jumping. Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah.
Rip.
You
Foul.
got. Whoa!
Bro, I fouled
You actually
you.
fouled
I
me.
destroyed you.
Threw him on the ground. Get out of my
I
way,
was like,
kid.
Kim, it's just my ball. Such a bully, bro.
Alert him.
I just said B like twice. Look at me. Oh.
I want to see that angle.
I thought it was gonna be a foul on me. Stopped his run.
All the time
He
in
was
the
making like
world,
a
Emerson.
perfect run.
That was disgusting.
Oh, I'm just gonna rip everything.
This is what we need.
Alright.
Right here.
First time. Oh, I got like 5 of them on me.
It's game over.
Oh, big boy time. Hey.
I called it.
Uh.
Dude, huge, bro. This dude benches
Yeah.
4,000.
Hey everyone, this is Lesky here, back to another FIFA 21 Pro Clubs player build for you guys today. And in this video, we have for you a 6'6", 253-pound striker build for you guys today. Basically a max build. The only thing that makes it not a max build is because it's 6'6" rather than 6'7". Because honestly, there's really no point of going for 6'7" if we go over to this body page. It just makes you pretty much worse in every single stat, maybe except for like physical and possibly some shooting stats. But other than that, when you just go 6'6" and bring them down just a little bit of an inch, you're just a little bit faster, better dribbling, and that's really all it is. Just you're a little bit faster and you got better dribbling stats, and then maybe a little bit better passing stats as well. So we decided just not to go for 6'7", just because 6'6" gets you just that extra pace. So make sure when you're on this body page doing the height and weight, make sure you're listed as 6'6" and 253 pounds. And make sure you're on the low side of 6'6", because if you're on the high side of 6'6" like this, it'll give you the same stats as 6'7". So again, when you're on this page, just make sure you scroll all the way down until you see those stats change and you're on those low side of 6'6" like I have it now. So that's it for the body page now. Let's head over to the skill tree and I can show you guys what I have on this beast mode build. Here we are on this playstyle screen. As you guys can see, I named it Beast, and we are listed as a striker. I decided not to go for center forward just because a striker, they have better physical stats, and this is like a mostly focused on like the strength and the physical of this build rather than obviously the pace and like the dribbling, since it's not going to be that good. Like you're mostly just focusing on the beastly physical stats with this build, and a striker bumps those stats up even more over a center forward, so that's why we went for the striker position. Then again, we're 6'6", 253 pounds, which is the max weight. And then I'm left-footed, doesn't really matter. If you want to go righty, go ahead. And I believe while I was using this build, I was using my Yaya Toure character rather than my Di Maria character that he is now, because the gameplay in this video was from a while back, and I really didn't play too many games with this build. It was only for like a couple hours, so only like a few games, but it was pretty fun using it, and I just thought it was going to be like a funny, cool little build that I could post and show you guys on the channel. So as you guys can see on the bottom right corner, this build for me is an 89 overall. For some of y'all, it could be less, or some of y'all it could be even higher possibly, just depending on how many games y'all have played compared to me. So onto the skill tree now, where we will start with the physical page, because this is like the main focal point of this build, where we have 80 jumping, which isn't crazy, but you kind of have to expect that as a really tall 6'6" guy with 253 pounds. We're not going to have that much jumping, kind of makes sense. But when you look at the strength stat, we have 96 strength, which is absolutely bonkers in my opinion. I know you're not going to have much pace or anything, but that 96 strength is crazy. Anybody coming up to you shoulder to shoulder should get absolutely bodied and thrown onto the ground every single time. If not, this game is rigged, because that strength is crazy. This build is just really fun to use, especially if you know how to use like the left trigger, even though it doesn't take much skill to use the left trigger. Like when you have the ball to body people, like to body and shield people off of you, like to shield them away from the ball. It's really good, especially when you have crazy strength and have a really big body type like this one. So on this left side, make sure you go down to the jumping focus and the strength advanced focus, which will max out the strength for a 6'6", 253-pound build. And then on this right side, we went all the way down to the second wind. But if you are playing any while using this build, what I would do is actually take off the second wind since you aren't going to need it. You're not going to be using the build or this build nearly as much while playing any, so you're not going to run out of stamina or have that problem. So I'll take off the second wind and actually add it to either shooting or pace, probably. What I would do is add it to pace, but for now, just keep it off, and I'll show you guys towards the end what you can do with those extra skill points. So for now, I'm going to have the second wind on, and we're going to move on to dribbling for this build. As you guys can see, I went for the 5-star skills. A lot of y'all might prefer only just going for the 4-star skills and not even going for the 5-star skills. That's totally like a preference. Feel free to take it off. I would suggest keeping the flare trait though. It's pretty big, especially for a big guy. You're not going to have like crazy agility and whatnot to like get your guy to turn and be able to make a pass. So being able to like perform fancy passes is pretty helpful with the flare trait, especially with the big dude. But like I said, I went for the 5-star skills, and of course we went for the full agility and balance upgrade, which isn't going to make us anything crazy except for that 88 balance, which is actually pretty nutty actually. Since you are really tall, you wouldn't think you would have much balance, but since we added that weight onto the build, you have crazy balance. Like if this was like a 6'6", 119-pound build, you probably wouldn't have nearly as much balance. You'd have probably a little bit more agility, but that high balance actually makes the dribbling feel a little bit better on this build. You don't feel as crazy clunky. Yeah, your agility's not crazy, but like the left stick dribbling with this build is pretty nice, and you can use that LT to body people off. So for the people that only want 4-star skills on this build, stay tuned to the end of the video where I'll give y'all some suggestions like with the any people who are going to be playing any and not using the second wind. I'll give you suggestions on that, and to also to the people that only are going to rock 4-star skills towards the end of the video. So stay tuned for that. For now, I'm just going to keep the 5-star skills on with the flare trait, and then make sure on this right section that you get the ball control focus, which is very clutch because it's only 2 skill points and it gives you +2 ball control and +1 dribbling, which is pretty important since your base dribbling stats aren't very good on this build. So now on to passing, and really we're not going to talk much about the passing on this build. We don't have anything to show for on the passing page, like when it comes to skill points, we didn't put anything on it. And then looking at the passing stats, as you'd expect, it's not going to be great as a really big striker build. The highest stat is actually our vision, which is 82, and that's really only because we're 6'6". We have a higher vision since we're taller. 75 crossing, poor, not that great. Long passing is poor, 65. Short passing, not solid at all. And then the curve is 80, which is kind of decent, I guess, for a big dude. Just remember when using this build, the passing ability is not the focal point of this build. Try not to be playmaking with this build. Try to stay up top in the center of the field, in the box area, just waiting to score any chance you get. So now on to shooting, where we have the 5-star weak foot. Basically, my thought process with this was, since this is a bigger build, you're not going to be able to dribble or pace people easily and be able to create like open space for you to get a shot off. With the 5-star weak foot, it doesn't matter. If the ball's on your left or your right, you can rip it. And then these insane shooting stats are crazy with the 5-star weak foot. So feel free when you're using this build, just unleash a shot with either foot because it'll be crazy. Because as we're looking at the stats right now, we have 94 finishing, 92 heading accuracy, 95 shot power, which is absolutely absurd for pro clubs. I've never seen a build with this much shot power. Obviously, you can make it even higher if you wanted to. You could go up to 96, 97, 98, maybe even 99 if it's possible. You could almost have max shot power. I bet if you make them 6'7", you would have max shot power. You could possibly get it there, but that's a lot of skill points just for extra shot power. And is it really going to make much of a difference between like 95 and 96, 97, 98 shot power? I'm pretty sure 95 is going to be crazy enough, and you're going to be able to notice a huge difference compared to like the other builds you may have been using where they don't have as much shot power, maybe in the 80s, maybe possibly even in the 70s. Like when it comes to shooting in the box, you should be able to make most of your chances and definitely overpower the goalies with that crazy shot power. And then you also have 91 long shots on top of that 95 shot power. So both of those combined, you could really get some nasty long shots with this build. And then on top of that, you also have 90 volleys, which is pretty clutch. So when you get a volley in the box, on top of the 94 finishing and the 95 shot power, it should pretty much be automatic every time. And then also you have 90 penalties. So looking at the shooting stats, every single stat is a 90 or higher except for free kick accuracy, which really isn't too bad since we are a big striker. We can't expect to have crazy free kick accuracy stats. So that's going to be it for the shooting page. Let's move on to pace, which will be the last page. And obviously the pace is not going to be incredible on this build. As you guys saw, we're 6'6", 253 pounds, so you just have to expect we're not going to be very pacey at all. And I decided to not go for the full pace upgrade anyways, since you're probably not going to be able to tell much of a difference. So I decided not to bump it up to like what, 74 acceleration and 73 sprint speed. I decided not to do that. I just decided that 70 sprint speed, 70 acceleration is perfectly fine, and you're really not going to notice much of a difference between 70 speed and 74 speed or whatever it may be. So I just thought you might as well use those skill points in other places that might be more relevant and useful for this build, like when it comes to physical shooting and all that good stuff. But when you use this build, don't expect to get in behind one-on-one on the goalie a ton of times. You'll probably get caught too. So what you're going to want with this build is having the ball play to your feet, like when you're outside the box or inside the box. If your teammates can play you the ball towards your feet when you have a defender on your back and you're able to make a turn or some move to create some space to get a shot off, and hopefully it's not able to get blocked, it should almost go in every single time because those crazy shooting stats should definitely be able to destroy any keeper in the net. And half the time, they're not even able to react in time just because of that crazy shot power. So that's it for the pace section. And I was going to show people that were going to be playing any with this build what you could do when you take off the second wind. So if you're going to take off the second wind, what I would do is also take off this heading accuracy. That is just a little extra skill point added on. Because you're going to want to take that off. And what you could do is just add it to acceleration and get +2 acceleration, which won't make much of a difference. But there's really not any better alternatives to do. So that's really what I would do. And then for the people who only want 4-star skills, and then obviously are not going to be playing any, they're going to be playing as their pro, but they want only 4-star skills rather than 5-star skills, you're going to take that off. And what you do is kind of the same thing as the people that are going to be playing any, just add it to acceleration, and then I'll give you +2 acceleration on what I normally have. But I'm going to take it off and put it back to what I was using. So we're just going to put the 5-star skills back, and then you're good to go. Actually, we're going to have 1 skill point, and like I said, we're going to put it onto that heading accuracy to bump it up to 92 since it was just 1 extra skill point. You can really just do whatever you want with this extra skill point. I just decided to do heading accuracy. And that's going to wrap it up for the 6'6", 253-pound beast striker build, guys. Basically, teammates that are fast and are able to cross pretty good to your big guy and just find you and feed you. You'll have a lot of success using this build, and you'll actually have quite a bit of fun because it is a really fun build to use. Even though it's not going to be a crazy overpowered build by any means, it's still really fun to use, especially when you have the right teammates around you to actually utilize this build properly. It's definitely really fun. So give it a try. Let me know in the comments how it went for you. And also, if you could hit that like button on this video, I'd greatly appreciate that. And that subscribe button on my channel if you haven't already. Thank you guys for watching. Y'all have a great rest of y'all's day, and peace out.